folks in America. We have very new friends with me, and I'm happy to learn about her, and I'm happy to learn from her perspective, her views, and her opinions. Welcome, Rosalinda.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Rosalinda, and was born and raised here in Houston, Texas, the southwest side actually. And I'm Muslim. My mother, she's from El Paso, Texas.
Oh, okay.
She's Hispanic, Mexican, American, and my father, he's from Honduras. And he was raised, then he moved to New York. So I'm from Latin background.
So born and raised in Houston.
Correct. I'm 31. I know I may not look like it, but
nobody will believe in that. But okay. So when we talk with Rosalinda, I ask her, what do you like to talk most? What do you think one of the things really important, and when we learn, we will be integrated easily? And you said,
you know, communication is a big thing for
Yes.
me, and I think when you have that, then you can really, people can really warm up with you well, because you project good communication skills. And when I say that, I mean, like when you come into the room full of people, smile, you know, even though you may feel uncomfortable, you don't want to be here, but you know, it's really good to show your presence. And when I say show your presence, doesn't mean like, look at me, you know, I'm here, I'm the star of the, nothing like that. Just being assertive and showing people that you are here. Yeah, you're giving eye contact. Everybody's in the room. And then they're looking, and when you come in, you introduce yourself. But if the person that you're with does not introduce you, then you, of course, you do that. But you want to give them benefit. You want them to go ahead and introduce you since they're bringing you. If not, then a firm handshake, looking them in the eye and say, hello, I'm Rosalinda, and you are. And so, you know, I know a lot of people are not comfortable coming out their shell, but, you know, just letting them know that you're here and you see them, and really just having that kind of like laid back attitude, but being open at the same time, because people kind of feel, you know, your vibe, and
True.
And I think it's just very important to knowing.
So what about handshaking as a Muslim lady? Sometimes it might be hard, or we don't want to do. So what is the best answer?
So you can say, I appreciate the gesture. However, as a practicing Muslim, I'm not comfortable with shaking hands, but it is a pleasure to meet you.
It's great to see you say it.
And saying it with a smile, saying it with like, thank you, and this is my practice. So, and that, something like that, you can definitely do. Yes, absolutely.
And can we talk a little more about being etiquette?
Oh,
mannerisms.
Yeah, I think that goes a long way. Just really, again, you know, introducing yourself, smiling. Even though you may, you know, come across someone who is rude, I would say just look unbothered, and still, you know, repel evil with good.
What does unbother mean?
Unbothered means not looking like you were offended or something. You know, when you have to be very careful of your body language as well. Sometimes people may say something and you just need to pause yourself before you react. And I think that's very important, because sometimes we just want to say whatever, like be impulsive and say whatever that we have in our mind. And it's not a good idea. So I try to like, okay, take a deep breath and like, okay. And I'm like, you know what? And I'm sorry you feel that way. Or, well, you have a nice day. You know, it's just don't look in your face like you were offended. Like, what did you say? You know, or excuse me? Do you know who you're talking to? You know, any along the lines like that, you know, I try to practice to just refrain from that, and, you know, just be respectful and polite and walk away.
The two suggestions is great. Be respectful and be polite. That should be our nature, and that's definitely undebatable. So what about being a Muslim woman in America? Any challenge? Any positive things? How do you feel it?
For me, I think it's very, very important to not be insecure, but be very comfortable in your skin. You know, I mean, as a Muslim woman who covers, you you don't blend in. You actually, you look apart from others, because like, oh, okay, who are you? Or, people already have their ideas or what their feelings about what they think Islam is or Muslims are. But when I come, I show like, this is who I am and this is how I will be. And I just try to, practice the sunnah, which is the words and the actions of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has informed us. And that's pretty much just, again, just being respectful. I'm comfortable in my skin being a Muslim woman, alhamdulillah. And I think it's because living in the southwest side of Houston and living in conditions that was not so good. And what I mean by that, but just being around other minorities and being around people who are rowdy, and being, I guess, Hispanic too, kind of plays a role in that, because we have a culture of the way we kind of deal with things. But I've became comfortable, and I'm like, well, this is me, and pretty much if you don't like it, that's between you and and the law. But I don't really say this to them. It's just something that I kind of show a demeanor about, that I'm a strong person, and that I'm, at the end of the day, I'm answering to Allah, not to them. And it comes with an attitude, but I'm, again, being mindful of that, because it's okay for people to be uncomfortable about it, or maybe people are comfortable about it, but people see that, and I see that they're asked questions, and this is my way to spread dawah, to give information more about Islam, because a lot of people do ask, and I want them to feel like
asking questions is so much better than having assumption, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's my experience. A lot of people ask, what is your scarf? Why do you wear it? Or you say you only eat halal meat. What does that mean? I'm explaining a lot about halal meat. And it's not that I'm saying I'm complaining. I'm not. I love it, because I get to spread, knowledge about Islam, and so I'm proud to do that. I'm a person that's proud to be Muslim, and people see that, and so that's what makes me feel comfortable.
My next question is actually different, but it's a perfect time to ask. So, you are young, but still you have experience. That's why your words is so important. How we can raise the kids became proud to be Muslim? How we can make them strong who they are?
For me, what really made the difference was having my mentor around, and she was originally my English teacher. She's African American from California, covered Muslim, and just her being as my role model and introducing me to an Islamic community make the biggest difference for me, because when I did this, I did that, she was there to correct me, and she did it with love, and for her it was very acceptable for me, because I knew that it was, when you hear from your mother, your father, it's like, okay, I already know this, or I really don't care, you don't want to, there's no weight, unfortunately, or not much weight for that. But when you hear someone outside of the family that you look up to, that's going to make the difference. And her, just just having her under my wing had made a difference. And, being around other Muslim women, a little bit older than I am. And I'm like, okay, so they're showing me the ropes, they're showing me the way, they're showing me what's what. And whatever difficulties that I had, I prayed about it. And I read, and that it's really building the iman, the faith. Building that really helped me, because no one can really help you but yourself as far as getting far.
That's correct.
Faith without works is dead. So I think it's just very important to really put in that practice every day. So that's helped me become strong.
So what about if I ask you to tell me 3 things about American culture we are going to be amazed when we learn?
Well, the American culture is very diverse.
Okay.
That's the good thing about it, is because depending on where you live, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, just the neighboring cities in Houston, you'll meet all kinds of people. And meeting all kinds of people, I think they are more acceptable in, meeting people from all types of the world. So I would say, have the intention of being open and speaking with others, but in the same time, I have your guard up. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of, when I say having your guard up, of course, I'm not saying like you can't trust anybody and everybody. You have to, just kind of go along with the flow a little bit, but not say too much. But it's to answer your question. You're asking about the American culture, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for an example, you can say, don't call anybody past 10 o'clock. If you have something to ask, you can definitely say, hey, can I go ahead and do that? But it's, I don't know, culture. I mean, because I was
the one things, let me tell, like my experience.
Okay.
Like one thing was people read a lot. They start to read in a really young age, and the beautiful libraries you have here. That was one thing I amazed. I feel like, wow, that's a great thing. People are reading. There's a great opportunity to read and meet with good writers, new books. That was one thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think, of course, people are really into like hobbies. People are into Netflix. There's something common ground that you want to speak with. Sure, if you say, hey, have you seen this movie or show on Netflix? That's a common ground that people like to talk about. People like to talk about even being in clubs like golf or runners who want to wear marathons. So is this piquing their interest of wherever they're at? You can ask like, okay, well, I'm into art. I like, going to the museums. I like to paint or any kind of arts, crafts that I like, that I can open up conversations. I'm like, well, you know what? Me too. I'm like, okay, well, where do you go? So I think it's really going to a common ground and, ask questions. If there's anything that, they may ask, in particular, that person, people love to talk about themselves. So I'm sure they could, just be comfortable in speaking to others.
Okay, and one more question is about the young generation. If there's any suggestion you can give, what it might be. Like I'm talking about the people who came from Turkey and they're young, they're learning English. Maybe their parents are here or not.
Sure. So
they refugee here for freedom. Let's say. So what it might be.
It can definitely be challenging, especially for those who are like maybe in middle school age. For those who trying to find balance in practicing Muslim and hanging out with their friends, and it is a pull, from their friends and just saying, hey, once you come to my house, we can do this, we can do that, knowing that you're not really supposed to be doing that. And, you can still have friends and be a practicing Muslim and just letting your friends know, like, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I ought to do. And, you can still go to your friends and have Netflix. But what helped me really, again, to kind of reiterate, what's helped me being comfortable in my skin is just being around having a mentor that you look up to, or like an older sister who shares the same faith as you, and being around and being in the community, an Islamic community, because then you constantly surround yourself to keep yourself grounded when you have challenging times. And sometimes it's okay to have these emotions. You're feeling this, you're feeling that, even though it's not okay to have, but you're a human. You got to talk about it. You can't repress it. You have to someone that you can trust, you can talk to, so you can navigate your emotions and know, like, okay, let me put that aside. Or if this is something that you're really struggling with, make dua about it, or read that's something related to that issue, and just constantly kind of reaching out, and that will make the biggest difference. So,
okay, the last thing I will ask is, there is a word I'm trying to remember. Hopefully I phrased well. Please correct me. You can get to respect naturally, but deserve the trust later. Did I say right? In America, they said you can get to respect naturally. Everybody respect everybody, but you deserve the trust.
Oh, yes. Okay, I can get what you're saying. Yes, a lot of people don't trust people easily. And that's okay. But across the board, it's important to respect others. Even though if it's something that you disagree with, or you maybe be disgusted about, you don't want to show that to people. That can be, if they can be offended. You know, you keep that to yourself, but you know, you respect their decision. However, you know, they ask if you, will you support me if you really don't, because it's against your religious, you know, views. And you know, I respectfully say, hey, I don't mean no ill intent. I respect your decision. I don't support it. And I'm sorry you're going through this, you know. And really, when it comes to just trusting people, I think it's to each their own. You really, a person have to decide whether they can trust someone based on, you know, when you open up a little bit, and then they see if you open up a little bit, and whatever advice that they're telling you and you're applying it and it's helped, you know, it can build that way. But unfortunately, if that person steals from you, it's very hard to build trust. You know, once the trust is taken away, most people don't either trust that person ever again, won't probably give them a chance, or it's very hard to really build on that. So respect across the board, but trust has to be given. I mean, has to be earned. Yeah, that is kind of like the rule of thumb. I don't trust anybody and everybody. I keep my distance, safe distance. And, you know, I'm just always just my self-awareness is there. I gotta be cautious. Doesn't mean I'm skeptical with anybody and everybody. You know, if they give me a reason, okay, I'll keep my safe distance and I'll make sure I have my belongings kind of close. But then again, you know, again, trust has to be earned.
Many of our friends have this two totally different experience. Some of my friends said they have a great neighbors when they say hi, and they also say hi, and they invite each other to their house. I mean, easily they got trust level, and they are good neighbors. But some of them, they said sometimes they feel so unhappy about, maybe because they have a scarf, or they feel they're Muslim, that's why they're not talking with them. I mean, so we shouldn't get offended then, right? Like, it might be their distance. Correct. They don't know us.
That's correct. Yeah. But that doesn't I wouldn't think off, you know, I wouldn't think initially, oh, because I'm Muslim or because I cover. It could be the case, but we don't know until they say it from their mouth, you know.
True.
And whatever, because we're judging.
True.
And that's something that we got to be aware about, and just say, okay, I have that. Let me put that aside to consideration, maybe, but don't say this is what's going on, you know, because if you're thinking that, then could it not? But maybe that's something for them they can try to overcome if it's the truth. But I always have to remember, give people the benefit of doubt, and to and really just giving them the benefit of doubt. So honestly, for me, if someone moved in, I wouldn't tell them to come into my home, because then I don't know who you are.
True.
You know, you could be a thief that you used to steal, or, you know, you see them like, oh, okay, you see that I got a big TV, or, you know, that I have this, I have that, you know, and they know that I don't have an alarm in my house. Might think it's a safety issue.
I never think about that.
Not just that, but, you know, we don't know who they know. So they'll probably be talking about, you know, they could be talking about me, or talking about, oh yeah, they live like this, they live like that, or you know, they could be all smile and friendly to your. I'm not saying this is a case every time.
Yes.
But when it comes to your home, opening to your home, for me personally, I invite those who I feel comfortable with. Who I've already given my trust. Now, the minute that they show that they are untrustworthy, then that'll be the last time they come into my house. Yes. Unless I see that they sincerely, you know, remorseful and ask forgiveness, and maybe. But still, you know, I think this is a safe haven as when it comes to the house. And but, you know, to each their own again. You know, for you, if that's totally okay. If you're okay with that, just be aware, because you don't know who you really just bringing into the house. But if, to your personal judgment, if you see that, oh, okay, they're fine, they can have dinner, keep it light, have dinner, thank you, bye, see you again. That's okay, you know. But you just have a look out. Just kind of make sure, you know, you don't want to be too comfortable too easily because unfortunately people would take advantage of that. And for me, it's like, you know what, let me just keep it safe. And even though I want to show you how warm and comfortable and open, and even though like there are some really genuine nice neighbors who wouldn't do that, but the thing is, you're rolling the dice on that, which means you never know.
Taking a chance.
You're taking a chance.
Risk.
You're taking a chance. And so the American culture normally, that's not something that we normally do. Now, if I just happen to be your friend and we were we are friends. We're
yes,
sisters,
we are sisters.
You know? But if it's like, if we're in school and, you know, and say that you weren't Muslim, or I wasn't Muslim, or say that we're just different. I don't know. Like, just let's say a scenario, but we like each other. We are like, you know what? We're friends, and we're going. You know, we're doing this, we're doing that,
like-minded,
And I've already made up in my mind that I like you, and you too. Then you're like, hey, you should come over my house. Maybe I can show you how to cook this or cook that. To me, you've already showed me that I'd be comfortable in doing that because we're hanging out. Yes. But it has to kind of be like a mutual agreement.
True.
And we're like, well, you know what? Maybe a lot of people don't want to hurt your feelings. And sometimes they lie because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Like, no, I don't want to come to your house. But hey, we can go have Starbucks. You know, so if it's like initial contact with strangers, I think like going to a public area would help.
Better.
Yeah. And then if they kind of hint, they kind of want you over to come to their house, they'll say. So I kind of just, wherever they go, I may meet them too. You know, so if they go here, I may go here. Depending on the friendship, depending on the companionship, you know, so it's different.
Thank you so much for explaining this mindsetting. Like, because in Turkey, it's so easy. We invite people to our house. We go to your house. We hug their kids, even we don't know. But it's even without knowing. But it's important to understand mindsetting to not get offended or not offend other people.
Correct.
It's perfect. One more thing, because while we were drinking our tea and talking and knowing each other, we talk about making it please people. And I know you wanna say something about it.
Oh, pleasing. You know, as I was younger, and I would say maybe 13, 14, 15, it's hard to please everybody because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. And, you know, I really am genuine to try to, you know, want to have them, try to make them happy. But then I feel like I'm a tug of war, like, no, do this, don't do that. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. It becomes overwhelming, and then someone will get upset. But as I've gotten older and I started learning more about my faith, you know what, I just learned as with maturity, like, you can't please everybody. And I'm not here on this earth to please you. And I don't mean that in a rude way, but I'm here at the end of the day to please Allah. Now, if that aligns with, you know, something I don't mind doing for you or doing it for the sake of Allah to please Him, okay, I don't mind doing that. But they would have to see that that's how I am, you know. If someone like, oh, please, because people like to manipulate. And that's kind of like, that's another word for like social engineering, when they're like, they'll try to say something or do something, try to make you or insinuate for you to do something. And you're like, you know what, I'm not a puppet. You can't just do this. That's not something I tell them. But if I'm that comfortable with them, I'm like, I know what you're doing, and I'm not doing that. This is what I'm going to do, and just holding ground, depending on what it is. But if it's something like, oh, please come over to my house, we can have dinner. If that's something that I'd like to do, I'm like, okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate you for the invitation, and I would love to. But I'm not doing, it's for the sake, it has to be mutual. And again, at the end of the day, I'm to please Allah, you know, my creator, the creator. And that's where I kind of like stick to. But I'll let people know I'm not doing that with you or you know, but it's not a conversation to really have. I think that's an understatement. But I think people will kind of know like who they can do that with, you know. Because sometimes it's good to say, you have to practice in saying no, thank you. You know, there's something that you're really not comfortable doing. Don't say yes because you want to please that person. Thank you, but no. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable for me to say no. And you don't have to give an explanation. But if you want to give an explanation, you know, depending on what it is, just say, Respectfully, no. No, thank you. Smile, be polite.
Smile again.
Yes, it's always being respectful, polite, and keep it moving. Now, if they see kind of hurt,
they will.
Yeah, I mean, that could be even the form of manipulation, like, but again, you know, it really depends on who you're speaking with. You know, I think at the end of the day, I have prior commitments. I have to honor that. Just even you saying that, they were like, oh, okay, I understand, no worries. You know, and just being really comfortable and confident in saying that. Let people know.
True. Okay, let's say the last words, like to people who are listening us from all over the world, actually. So what might be your suggestion to people who are in different country and they don't know maybe the language the country they live now. So what it might be your suggestion to those people?
I think it's very important to be well-rounded and knowing someone who would know the area, the country or region that you're living in, and kind of educate you as an insider, you know, to know like, hey, just to let you know, you got to be aware of these kind of people. Or, you know, when I say be aware for this kind of people, I'm not talking about race, color, ethnicity. Just to know your surroundings and your awareness and just asking questions. You could even read books on their cultures and just like, or seeing like what is the trend, you know, in that culture. And it's not, I wouldn't say doing a trend to like, oh, okay, I'm trying to be like you, because they'll see that, they'll know that, and then they probably won't respect you as much because like, oh, okay, no. You want to be comfortable in your skin. You want to be assertive, but also you want to be polite. But you want to get to know other people who are not of your faith, your race, you know, and you're in a whole different country you're not comfortable with. I know it's gonna take some time for sure to really get to really start adjusting. So I wouldn't say do anything much drastically, but again, I would just kind of like, I would read about the country, read about the people, read about the cultural norms. Maybe you can look at YouTube, maybe you can read a study. I would just try to kind of like self-educate yourself, and people that you may meet locally that you're comfortable speaking with. Maybe you're going to have some tea or some coffee and just say, hey, I have some questions. I like to get to know a little bit more about the culture, the people here. Would you have some time to speak with me? And people would love to say, yes, of course. You know, instead of inviting them to your home, you can just say, let's go have some tea or some coffee, right?
Yeah.
And then just ask them a little bit more questions. And then just kind of be involved in maybe events or communities or hobbies that you're interested in. Right? Yeah, that could be great. And you have to kind of put yourself out there and just see like how it's like. You want to just really observe and, you know, just kind of learn on yourself first for self-observance, self-awareness, and ask questions, you know. And I think you kind of stick to that, I think you will naturally kind of grow and being comfortable with the people there. But, you know, I don't have much to say because I was born, raised here in Houston. I'm not, but you know, a lot of people are open books, and if they're not, then you will know that too. You know, I think it's just, if you have a question, you know, ask questions. So say, excuse me, may I ask you a question? And they'll look at me like, okay, yes, please. I'm like, okay, well, I'm new around here. And they usually have like tour guides, you know, they have like these maybe events going on. You know, get yourself out there and see, you know, what's around, you know, pick up on some information you could read and meet some local people. And I think you build from there.
Do not stay in a comfort zone, right? You know, to go out from our comfort zone.
Yes.
And talk with the locals, you said. Correct. I like the idea. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for, you know, having me as interest, and I hope, you know, my answers helped.
It helps. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you for watching.